Chapter 1771. Upon hearing Cece's name, everyone immediately knew what was going on. Everyone had a tacit understanding and looked at Rick. He lowered his head and didn't say anything. Just then Huamin received a WeChat message. She glanced at it and then looked up at Suyu. Cece's here. She's at the door. Go and receive her or she won't be able to come in. Suyu nodded and immediately stood up. Rick also stood up slowly. Huamin, I have something else to do. I'll go now. I'll come see the babies another day. Rick, why are you hiding from Cece? Huamian asked directly, not at all bothered by the crowd. Rick, on the other hand, didn't expect Huamian to be so direct. I just think it's better not to see her in this situation. But do you plan on avoiding her forever? Rick fell silent. Mian, I think you shouldn't make it too hard for Rick. After all, it's not good for them to see each other right now. Zhu Lingling was a gossipy person. After finding out that Rick and Cece had broken up, she pitied the poor couple. Zhu Lingling thought that both of them needed time. Plus, she didn't know what was wrong with Huamin today. Why was she being so aggressive? I'm not making it hard for Rick. I just think it's better to solve some things face to face so that there won't be any regrets. Huamin replied word by word. Jiang Shaowei looked at Huamin in surprise. She was curious about her behavior today, but after thinking about it she knew what she wanted. Then she smiled and said, Rick, Mian's right. If there's any misunderstanding, let's sit down and talk about it. Plus, the little princess's 1-month-old celebration is such a happy event. It's meaningless for you to leave like this. Let's sit down and have some fun. What do you think? Huamin and Jiang Shaowei spoke at the same time. Rick, who wasn't good with words, had no choice but to sit down. Just then Suyu walked in with Cece. Everyone greeted him warmly. Huamin walked over and held Cece's hand, letting her sit beside him. Although they were far away from each other, they were indeed face to face. They could see each other just by looking up. Cece wasn't surprised to see Rick, because she knew that this was the last chance that Huamin had painstakingly fought for her. She tried to smile at him, but Rick didn't even look up. Now that everyone is here, can we start eating? Huamin looked at Suyu. Suyu nodded and ordered the kitchen to serve the dishes immediately. Since many of them were not familiar with Lord Su, they were divided into 2 tables. The elders sat at one table and the juniors sat at another table. Huamin and her friends sat at one table, while Mrs. Huamin and Mrs. Lord Su sat at the other table with their kids. This way they wouldn't disturb each other. Huamin didn't have to take care of the kids, so he could chat with everyone. Tang Chuan and Zhu Lingling were both lively people. With them around, there would never be an awkward silence. However, Rick was the type of person who didn't talk at all. He didn't eat much, nor did he talk. He just sat there quietly. Cece kept looking at Rick, but he didn't look at her. Huamin saw how anxious Cece was. During the meal, Huamin stood up on purpose. Cece, come with me to the bathroom. Cece nodded and followed Huamin upstairs. Mian, what should I do? I feel like Rick doesn't want to talk to me, he won't even look at me. It's not that he doesn't want to look, he doesn't dare to. Huamin smiled. Do you have any ideas? Cece asked anxiously. Stay in my room and don't move. I'll think of a way to get him to come up to you. The rest is up to you, Huamin said. Cece nodded and seemed to have made up her mind. Then Huamin shouted from the 2nd floor, help! Cece fainted. As soon as he said that, Rick ran up the stairs at lightning speed. Chapter 1772. Huamin, where is she? Rick asked nervously. She's in my room. Go in and take a look. Huamin lied without thinking. Today she finally realized how good she was at acting. Seeing Rick rush in, Huamin smiled proudly. When she went downstairs, everyone was dumbfounded. Dr. Hua, what's going on? Tang Chuan asked. Nothing, eat your food. Huamin smiled. My wife was right. It seems like Goddess Hua is trying to set them up today. Wei Liao chuckled. Yes. Your wife is always right. He's the smartest. Then Huamin added, hey, you're slightly better. You taught her well. Huamin rarely joked around like this. Everyone burst into laughter. Wei Liao was a little embarrassed. Huamian sat down and picked up a piece of liangpi with her chopsticks. She was about to eat when Suyu slapped her chopsticks away. What do you mean? Huamin looked at Suyu in confusion. You're just out of confinement. Don't eat something so cold. Huamin was speechless. Everyone knew what was going on. Suyu had been gentle with Huamin for a long time. Everyone was used to it. Upstairs in Huamin's bedroom. When Rick rushed in, he saw Cici standing there unharmed. Rick knew that Huamin had planned this. He was a little embarrassed. Just as he was about to leave, Cici called out to him. Rick, what's up? Do you really hate me so much that you want to leave as soon as you see me? Cici was a little heartbroken. I think we've made ourselves clear enough, haven't we? Rick replied calmly. Cici gathered her courage and walked over to Rick's side. Rick, I have to explain to you. I really didn't do it. I didn't betray Huamin on purpose. It really wasn't me. Rick didn't say anything and just kept silent. You don't believe me at all. Do you think I'm that despicable? You even betrayed your own friends? Cici questioned. There's no point in talking about this now, Cici. It really doesn't matter anymore, Rick said casually. Cici, on the other hand, was devastated. She walked up to Rick with tears in her eyes. But this is very important to me. It's the happiness of my life. Rick, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been so naive. I shouldn't have made the decision to look for Huamin. I almost killed her and the baby. I really didn't do it on purpose. Please don't be angry, okay? Like a child, Cici tugged at the corner of Rick's shirt and sobbed as she apologized. Cici, you don't have to apologize. It's not your fault. No, I know I was wrong. Rick, can we not break up? I really don't want to leave you. This is the first time I've loved someone so seriously. Cici abandoned her dignity as a girl and confessed her feelings to Rick. To be honest, Rick was struggling in his heart. He didn't want to drag an innocent girl like Cici down with him. He didn't want to waste her youth. He didn't want to be with her forever. Therefore, he bit the bullet and said, Cici, I think I've made myself clear. Let's not waste any more time. I still have things to do. I'll leave first. Then Rick abruptly walked away, shaking off Cici's hand that was tugging at his shirt. Cici felt completely disheartened. When Rick was about to step out of the door, she couldn't help but cry and ask, Rick, tell me, have you ever loved me? Is our love a one-man show? Am I the only one who gets high? What am I to you? Trash? Can you throw me away just like that? Yes. Tell me. After hearing Cici's question, Rick felt a slight pain in his heart. Chapter 1773. Say something, don't run away. Cici yelled at Rick's back. Rick slowly turned around and looked at her with a complicated expression. In the end, he only said 5 words. Cici, I'm sorry. I don't need your apology. You didn't do anything wrong, Rick. I don't want to lose you, I really don't. Mion told me that you're going back to the States, and I haven't been sleeping well for the past few days. I keep having nightmares about you leaving me. I'm really sad. I feel like if I don't say it now, I won't have the chance to say it. I don't want to treat love as a lonely game between a man and a woman. I'm serious, I think you're the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. I don't care what your status is, what your background is, Rick, as long as you still want to be with me, even if you're homeless, I won't abandon you. Really, please believe me, even though I'm young and don't have much experience, but I'm not a fickle person. I'm not a child, I know that love is something that lasts a lifetime. I really envy the love between Chinchu and Huamin. They were childhood sweethearts and were together when they were young. After so many years, they can still be together. I really want to find a time machine and travel back in time to be with you. Cici said a lot of things in one breath, but Rick's expression didn't change. The truth was, even if Rick's heart was in turmoil, he would still look calm on the surface. Therefore, at this moment, no one could tell anything from his expression. Rick opened his mouth, but he didn't know what to say. Cici was a prideful person. She thought that Rick wanted to politely reject her, but he was too embarrassed to say it because he didn't want to hurt her. Therefore, in an instant, her heart sank to the bottom. It seems like you really don't care. Even if I confess to you like an idiot and bare my heart to you, you can still be so calm and indifferent. Actually, Rick was about to say something, but Cici interrupted him again. I understand, you don't have to say anything. I understand. Rick, no matter what, I still want to thank you. Then Cici walked up to him, stood on her tiptoes and gently kissed Rick on the cheek. Bless you, goodbye. Then before Rick could say anything, Cici turned around and ran away. Tears flew everywhere. She stumbled down the stairs and fell down at the top of the stairs. Huamin reacted quickly and immediately got up to help her. Cici, are you okay? Huamin looked at Cici. The moment she raised her head, her face was already covered in tears. Mion, thank you for giving me one last chance to see him. I have no regrets. After saying that, Cece ran away in a hurry, ignoring the wound on her hand. She opened the door and ran out. It looks like the negotiation has fallen through? Tang Chuan gossiped. Everyone looked at each other and didn't respond. At this moment, Huamin raised his head and saw Rick slowly walking down the stairs with a heavy heart. She's gone, Huamin said. Rick nodded, feeling extremely conflicted. Although this was clearly the result he wanted, he still felt mentally and physically exhausted after reaching this point. Especially when he saw Cece's tears, he almost couldn't take it anymore. Are you leaving now? Huamin looked at Rick calmly and asked. Rick nodded. Then I'll walk you out, I have something to talk to you about. After speaking, Huamin walked to the door and opened it. Rick silently followed behind him. This is a difficult situation. Do you think Dr. Hu can persuade him? I bet 1,000 yuan that he can. Who else wants to bet? Tang Chuan asked nosily. Chapter 1774. I bet 5,000 yuan that Huamin will win. Wei Liao laughed. I'm all in. Huamin will win for sure. Gao Ran was also full of confidence. You guys are so spineless, why are you looking down on Rick? Is he that weak? How can he be fooled by Mian with just a few words? Zhu Lingling yelled. So Mrs. Gao, are you betting on Rick to win? Tang Chuan laughed. Of course not. As Mian's best friend, I'll always support her unconditionally. Zhu Lingling laughed. Damn, I thought you were a spineless person, but you're still the same. Tang Chuan laughed. And Yang and Qinjie didn't say anything, they just watched the show. He was a bit calm, so he didn't mess around like Tang Chuan and the others. Where's Mian? Lord Su asked. Is she seeing her friend out? She'll be back soon. You guys didn't get along, is everything okay? The elders didn't know what happened, they just saw a girl crying and leaving. They thought something happened. It's fine, don't worry, Huamin can handle it. Su Yu was also confident. It's good. Then Lord Su and the others continued to play with the baby, chat and eat. Huamin and Rick strolled down the heavily guarded path in the Su family's manor. You've really decided? Rick tilted his head and looked at Huamin. You mean me and Cece? Who else? Huamin was obviously not happy. Maybe it's over. Rick sighed slightly. After being in China for so many years, he used Huamin's deep words perfectly, he even knew how to use the phrase over. I don't think so, I think it's up to us. We can't just blame everything that happens to us on fate. It's actually a form of escape. Rick didn't say anything. He felt that he was no match for Huamin in terms of language and intelligence. Therefore he gave up resisting and allowed Huamin to judge. Rick, what do you think is the most precious thing in life? Huamin's question startled Rick slightly. Rick was at a loss for words. Huamin continued. Many people think that the most precious thing in a person's life is something they can't get or something they've already lost. Because they never had it. Then Huamian glanced at Rick and said, but I think it's because humans are greedy and don't know how to be satisfied. In fact, the most important thing in life is to cherish what you have now. Unfortunately, many people don't realize it and only sigh after they lose it. Some people even think of the girl they loved when they were young when their hair was white. Is that fun? Huamin, what are you trying to say? Just say it, Rick said quietly. Huamin looked at him helplessly and then sighed slightly. There are more than 6 billion people on Earth and the chances of two people meeting and falling in love are very low. It's all about fate. It's not easy. Qin Chu and I have been separated for 7 years and it's been a torture. The only thing I regret now is that I didn't spend more time with him. Now that I want to, I don't know if I'll have the chance. Rick, you can't lie to me. You still love Cece, but you don't think you can give her happiness. Leaving her is the best blessing for her. But don't you know that to Cece, having you by her side is her greatest happiness? Just like when Qin Chu was forced to divorce and was threatened by Hu Xiqian, he thought he was doing it for me. But in fact, in this world, the person I care about the most is Qin Chu. He thinks he's doing it for me, but he's not. At least I'd rather die. I don't want to divorce him. I want to be Mrs. Qin for the rest of my life. Huamin. Rick was slightly moved. Rick, men and women are different. In love, men often think that if you love me you won't leave. Women, on the other hand, think that if you love me you'll come and find me. So in the end you didn't ask her to stay and she didn't turn back. Now you just need to tell me, do you still love Cece? Chapter 1775. Rick hesitated for 3 seconds and then nodded. Yes, Then you should know what to do. Although you have a cold personality, you are definitely not cold-blooded and heartless. I believe that you will know what to do. As your friend, I sincerely hope that you don't miss out on a girl whom you deeply love and who loves you at the same time. After all, in this world, not all adoration will be passionately reciprocated, and not all deep feelings will not be disappointed. After Huamin finished speaking, he turned around and left without even saying goodbye. However, Rick seemed to have understood something as he looked at Huamin's back gratefully. Huamin, thank you, he muttered to himself. On the way back, everyone was smiling at Huamin. She was baffled by his actions. What are you guys laughing at? What's going on? Huamin asked. Tell us first, how are you doing as a peacemaker? Did you convince Rick? Tang Chuan smiled mysteriously. That's hard to say. Rick is slow to warm up. Even if he understands what I say, it's hard to say how he'll carry it out. Damn. Don't you think you can handle it in a matter of minutes? I'm not the Virgin Mary. How can I be omnipotent? Huamin rolled his eyes at Tang Chuan. Young Master Tang, how's the marriage going? Wei Liao smiled. No way. Don't even think about it if you want me to marry that damn fatty. Huh, then when are we going to attend the wedding? Wei Liao teased him. God knows when. That's soon. Isn't this the year of the monkey? If it's the year of the monkey, is the 7th of the 12 zodiacs in July? This July? Fuck you, it's already November, okay? Tang Chuan teased. The full moon celebration wasn't that grand, which was what Huamin wanted. The little princess fell asleep after drinking milk. Huamin sent his friends off one after another. When she came back, Suyu asked gently, Are you tired today? Not bad. Huamin smiled. Then you should go to sleep. Otherwise, you won't have time to rest when they wake up in the afternoon. Pudding seems to be looking for you. She'll cry if she doesn't see you. Yes, eldest brother, you're a little smarter. It's amazing that you can recognize your mother within a month. Second brother, you're a little more obedient. Eat, sleep, eat, ha. At the mention of his daughters, Huamin's eyes were filled with happiness. Go to sleep then. I'm going to the company. All right. Huamin nodded. After taking a few steps, Suyu suddenly thought of something. He turned around and said, Don't worry, Huasiqian is under my watch. I won't let him do anything despicable. Also, if he finds any clues, we'll know immediately. If Qin Chu is really fine and Huasiqian finds out, we'll know too. Don't worry, I'll help you find him. Suyu cared too much about Huamin, so he was able to see through her expression. Although Huamin was happy today, she was still a little out of it. Suyu felt that Huasiqian's words gave Huamin a glimmer of hope. Therefore, he was already helping her investigate. Suyu, you don't have to do this. You've been so good to me. I might not be able to repay you in this lifetime. I don't want you to repay me. I know, but I blame myself. I owe you too much, really too much. I'm afraid I can't bear it. Oh, you can because your name is Huamin. After speaking, Suyu turned around and left, leaving Huamin behind, worried. Su family mansion. As soon as Huamin entered the house, he was called to the study by Lord Su. Master Lord Su, do you want me to play chess with you? Huamin smiled. With his hands clasped behind his back, the old man looked at Huamian solemnly and asked word by word, Mian, if I win this time, will you agree to be Yu's wife? Huamin's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. Chapter 1776. Huamin never thought that Lord Su would suddenly say something like this, so he was very shocked. Lord Su? Don't be in a hurry to answer, let's play a game of chess first. Then Lord Su sat down and began playing chess. Huamin sat across from Lord Su and slowly played chess as well, but his mind was full of thoughts. Lord Su slowly picked up a chess piece and placed it down. Then he slowly said, Mian, actually what I said to you today is just my personal opinion. Yu's parents don't want me to say this because they want you to think that I, as an elder, am nosy and worrying for nothing. I don't think that way, Lord Su. Yu is the only grandson of the Su family, but we didn't spoil him. When he was young, we set up rules and regulations for him. Then he joined the army for many years. He suffered a lot and went through a lot of hardships to achieve what he has today. The year he came back, he said that he wanted to start a company and we were against it. I told him to think of his own way to start a company, and the Su family bank wouldn't give him a single cent. Guess what happened next? Lord Su looked at Huamin with a smile. Did he think of his own way to get investments? Huamin asked. You could say that he's not stupid. He looked at a few empty lots in the suburbs. He took out his retirement money from his years in the army, as well as his New Year's money and pocket money to buy a piece of land. In less than half a year the government renovated and occupied the land, making him a few million. Then he used it to invest in stocks, and in less than 2 months, it multiplied several times. When he had tens of millions in his hands he started to register a company. He did everything himself, and when he was done he got a loan from our bank to expand the company. In less than 5 years the company became a leading enterprise, and this kid's net worth is now in the billions. Lord Su's tone was full of praise and pride. It was obvious that he loved his grandson and had always been proud of Suyu. Suyu, he does have a brain. Huamin nodded sincerely. When it comes to relationships I rarely ask about them. After all, that's his private matter. That's why I didn't blame him when he was rumored to have an affair with a celebrity or spent the night with a model. He's young after all. It's easy for him to be confused and impulsive. I thought it would be better if he calmed down. Then, until you appeared. At this point, Master Lord Su raised his head and slowly put down a chess piece. Then he looked at Huamin meaningfully. Huamin lowered his head and carefully dealt with Lord Su's ingenious setup. At the same time he was contemplating the purpose of this conversation. Your appearance has completely changed him, Lord Su. I'm actually very sorry. I never wanted to change Suyu. I've always treated the people around me in my own way, Huamin explained patiently. It's precisely because of this that he was moved by you. You didn't care about his identity, you didn't try to curry favor with him, you didn't try to play hard to get, you didn't try to get close to him, you wanted something. That's why he saw your honest personality and was attracted to you. Lord Su, I'm not as good as you make me out to be. I'm also not as good as Suyu thinks. I have a lot of flaws too. I also love the road. I'm also a little pretentious sometimes. When I see injustice I'll act like a Mary Sue and pretend to be a saint. When I'm stressed I'll throw a tantrum and look for trouble. The problem isn't that he likes you because you're good. It's that he thinks you're the best because he likes you. Master Lord Su's words left Huamin speechless. I know you're married and I know something happened to your lover. Tell me the truth today. If your lover doesn't come back and really dies, are you willing to give you a chance? Master Lord Su asked very seriously. His eyes were filled with incomparable sincerity and anticipation. Chapter 1777. After a long silence, Huamin slowly opened his mouth. Master Lord Su, I'm sorry, I'm afraid my answer will disappoint you. What I wanted to say is that I believe that my lover is still alive. He'll come back for me and I'll always wait for him. Even if he's really dead, I'll take care of the baby for the rest of my life. I won't remarry. My lover, Qin Chu, was the first man I fell in love with when I was young. He was my first love and he's the only one I've ever loved. I don't want to cast a layer of dust on our relationship. I can't forget him, and if I marry Suyu out of gratitude or something else, I'll not only let myself down, but I'll also let Suyu down. He's such an excellent man and he deserves a better woman who loves him wholeheartedly. He doesn't deserve a woman who loves him wholeheartedly. Master Lord Su, Suyu has been very good to me and I'll always remember that. I'll never forget what the Su family has done for me. In the future, if the Su family ever needs me, I'll do anything for them. But I can't repay them with my own life. I'm really sorry. After Huamin finished speaking, he slowly put down the chess piece in his hand. Master Lord Su sighed. I lost again. You're too good at chess. It looks like I can't win against you. I'm really grateful that you told me all this today. Thank you for being so honest. No? Master Lord Su, please don't say that. I can't afford to accept that. Okay, I understand what you're trying to say. Looks like, when I have time I'll try to persuade my stupid grandson to stop doing stupid things. Master Lord Su stood up slightly. Master Lord Su, Huamin seemed like he wanted to say something. Silly girl, you don't have to say anything. Just stay here like before. We'll treat you the same as before. You're such a good child, I'm sure God won't be too harsh on you. Your lover will definitely come back just as you wish. Master Lord Su looked at Huamin lovingly. It made her feel touched that she had not felt in a long time. Thank you, Lord Su, thank you. After the discussion, Huamin returned to his room with a heavy heart. The Su family treated her so badly, but she still kept them at arm's length. Would he think that she was too hard-hearted? Mian, you don't look so good. Are you okay? Yang Meirong asked. I'm fine. I just didn't rest well. Let's sleep early today. Well, it just so happens that the two little fellows are asleep. You should rest early too. Huamin changed into his pajamas and walked over to the crib. Looking at the two babies sleeping soundly, his heart was filled with happiness. Zhao Zhao Mumu. You have to tell Daddy to come back soon. I really miss him. The next morning when Suyu came out of the company after the morning meeting, and walked over and handed him the phone. President Su, Madam is calling. She seems to have something urgent to discuss with you. Suyu nodded. Call back. Mom, you're looking for me? I just finished my morning meeting. Son, come back and take a look. Mion, what's wrong with Huamin? Suyu was extremely nervous. Mion is moving out. She's packed her things and is leaving our house with the twins. No matter how I persuade her, it's useless. Come back and persuade her, hurry up. Lady Su could tell that she was very anxious. I'll go back now. With that, Suyu picked up his jacket, got up and went downstairs. He drove straight to the Su family's mansion. When he entered, Mion was already in the living room with her suitcase. Young master is back. The nanny shouted. Son, hurry up and persuade Huamin. Lady Su pulled Suyu's arm and walked over to Huamin. Chapter 1778. You're moving out? Suyu looked at Huamin, his tone as gentle as ever. Yeah. Huamin nodded sincerely. I'll take you home, you. Lady Su was dumbfounded. She didn't expect her son to be on Huamin's side. Let her go. We already agreed that she can't stay with us forever. Suyu smiled bitterly. Then he walked over to Huamin and picked up the suitcase in his hand. Then he walked out. Hey, how are we going to explain this to your grandfather? Mrs. Su was troubled. Mr. Lord Su really liked Huamian and the twins. Ever since Huamian gave birth, Mr. Su came home more often than before. The first thing he did when he came back was hug the twins. He spoiled them, doted on them and coaxed them as if they were his granddaughters. I'll talk to Grandpa, Suyu replied. Auntie Su, don't be sad. I'll come back to see you guys. I'm just moving back to my own home. It's not like I'm going far away, Huamin comforted Lady Su. Then I'll go with you. I'll take the maids with me and help you pack. Otherwise there'll be too much stuff. In the end, Huamin couldn't persuade Mrs. Su, so he brought a large group of maids and a fleet of cars and moved out. Huamin hadn't come back to South Hill Manor for a year. It was exactly the same as before. Huamin didn't say much on the way back. He just looked out the window quietly. When they got home, Uncle Lee was shocked to see Huamin. His voice was filled with excitement. A young lady, Huamin nodded with a smile. You're really back? Yeah, I brought back 2 little guys. Huamin pointed at the kids in the maid's hands behind him. Those are babies. Uncle Lee was beyond excited. Too many things had happened this year. Huamin and Qin Chu had left one after another. This place had been empty for a whole year. Fortunately, Huamin had called Uncle Lee before and told them to work as usual. Their salaries would be credited to them directly. Now that the mistress had returned, the entire castle was in an uproar. It took a long time for everyone to settle down. Huamin asked the kitchen to prepare a sumptuous dinner for everyone. Before they left, Suyu asked her in private. What are your plans for the future? I've already applied to the U.S. headquarters to take back the management rights of the company. I'll start working at GK next week. So fast. Yeah, I can't stay here any longer. I feel like a useless person. Although I'm not good at business, it's Qin Chu's company. It's the blood and sweat of the Qin family. I have to protect it with all my heart. Alright, I only have one request. What request? Huamin was slightly startled. I'll ask An to be your assistant and protect you every day. It's okay, I have bodyguards. Don't say no, it's decided then. I've already arranged for bodyguards. It's a token of my sincerity. Anyways, now that you're living here, you should be careful. Seeing that Suyu had made up his mind, Huamin couldn't refuse. Okay then, thank you. Yeah, I'm going back now. Call me if you need anything. Okay. When Suyu walked out of South Hill Manor, his heart was heavy. He didn't want Huamin to leave, but he could understand Huamin's situation. Therefore, he reluctantly let her leave and fulfilled all of her wishes. Silly child, you must be sad? Mrs. Su asked. As long as she's happy. Suyu quietly replied. Spring went and autumn came. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. Mommy Qin Zhao Zhao stole my bunny. I'm so annoyed, come and see. A childish voice sounded. Huamin walked downstairs with a doting smile on his face. He looked at one of the girls. Pudding, are you bullying your sister again? Chapter 1779. That's because she's too stupid. She's not as smart as me, so she has to admit defeat. Pudding was very good at playing cards. Her tone was very arrogant. Humph. No way. We went for an IQ test a while ago and my IQ was only 0. 2 points higher than yours. Even Grandma said I was the smarter one. Pudding pouted, obviously not convinced. Grandma was just comforting you. You don't even understand. Okay, stop fighting, you two. I'm having a headache. Pudding, give the bunny back to your sister, Huamian said. She has to admit defeat. She lost at cards. Huamian was obviously unwilling. I didn't lose. I suspect Pudding cheated. She secretly switched the cards. Handsome Sue must have taught her. I'm going to teach him the next time he comes, but he won't even teach me. He's so biased. Am I not as pretty as Pudding? Huamin was dumbfounded. Huamian gave Suyu the nickname Handsome Sue because she was obsessed with looks. Therefore, when she could speak, she always called him Handsome Sue. In the beginning, Suyu wasn't used to it. He always thought the two little guys were rude, but after a while he actually liked it. The two sisters often bickered over who Handsome Sue liked more. But Pudding was obviously a little weaker. Because of the two daughters, the eldest had a slightly higher IQ and IQ. She also had a cold personality and was very scheming. To put it bluntly, she was very much like Chin Chu. Pudding was also very smart, but she was a chatterbox, which was not like Huamin at all. She was more like Xixin. Fortunately, Pudding was cute and often said golden words. She was the joy of the whole family. It doesn't matter if she's pretty or not. Handsome Sue doesn't look at women based on that standard. Otherwise, he wouldn't have fallen in love with mommy back then. Qin Zhaozhao, what do you mean by that? Huamin scolded with his arms crossed. Mommy, I'm just telling the truth. You're not that pretty. You're pretty at most, but Handsome Sue used to like you so much. He even let you live with him. Heaven and earth are our witnesses. The sun and the moon are our witnesses, Pudding said earnestly. Huamin, but don't worry, I'm just saying. Handsome Sue likes you, but it doesn't matter. You only have daddy in your heart, right? You're still so young. Don't be so fond of him. Things between men and women aren't as simple as you make them out to be. Please, little ancestor, you're only 3 years old. Can you play happily like a normal child? How can I be like those ordinary people? Please, I'm the daughter of crazy geniuses Chin Chu and Huamin. His sister was in her tsundere mode again. Huamin, Mommy said to keep a low profile. Sis, don't go overboard. Little Bean reminded her kindly. At this moment his phone rang. Hello? President Hua, there's a video conference at the headquarters in an hour. Okay, I'll be there right away. I have to go to the company. You two have to listen to Grandma at home. Also, don't run around. Don't tease Grandpa Lee and the others. Can we ask Handsome Sue to come and keep us company if we're bored? Little Bean asked innocently. Uncle Sue is very busy. Huamin glared at her. Then hurry up and go. We'll listen to you. The two little guys seemed to have gotten used to Huamin being busy. Pudding, don't bully your little sister when Mommy isn't home or else. Huamin didn't forget to remind them. Chapter 1780. I know. Pudding responded like a little adult. Huamin smiled knowingly and walked out of the manor. 3 years ago, when Huamin moved back to South Hill Manor, he applied to the American headquarters to take back GK's management rights. At the time he thought the process would be troublesome, but who knew that the application would be approved with just one application. From then on, Huamin became the true president of GK. In the past 3 years, GK continued to grow. Aside from being grateful to Suyu for helping him, he stopped working in the film and television industry. GK was one of the best in almost all other industries. In the real estate industry, even the up-and-coming Hua Corporation couldn't compare. In the past 3 years he often bumped into Hua Xiqian in the business world, but they never cooperated or talked much. Hua Xiqian's people had been looking for opportunities to make a move on Huamin and the twins, but they never had the chance. Only then did Huamin understand why Suyu insisted on having him follow her when they moved out. Xiao An's skills were indeed terrifying. It was an exaggeration to say that he could fight against 100 people alone. His marksmanship was 100% accurate and he didn't waste a single bullet. Moreover, he was very careful. With him by his side, Huasiqin couldn't do anything to him. The most impressive time was when Huasiqin personally led his men to intercept Huamin. In the head-on confrontation, and only injured his arm, but Huasiqin had 4 knife wounds in his abdomen and had to recuperate for more than a month. Since then he seemed to have restrained himself a lot. The twins were 3 years old but they never went to kindergarten. Because he was afraid that it was unsafe, Huamin hired a teacher to teach them at home. At such a young age they could speak 7 languages. They were proficient in the 4 books and 5 classics. They even finished all 9 years of compulsory education in elementary and middle school. IQ testing experts had evaluated that although the twins were only 3 years old, they had the IQ and mentality of 12-year-old children. They were talented and smart, unlike ordinary people. When Huamian did her measurements, her result was 138 points, which shocked everyone. Right now, the twins' score of 145 was enough to make everyone around them gasp in amazement. In Zhu Lingling's words, it was the product of Qin Chu and Huamin. This was going against the natural order. Jiang Shaowei's son Wei Yunchu was a few months older than them, but he didn't have such a high IQ. Jiang Shaowei and Wei Liao were envious of Wei Yunchu. They had been helping Wei Yunchu develop his intelligence. When Huamin walked out and was already waiting in the driver's seat of the Audi R8. The Audi R8 was actually only worth a little more than 1 million, less than 2 million. It was not outstanding among the luxury cars. However, it was Huamin's favorite because it was the first luxury car that Qin Chu had given her. He missed Qin Chu. She missed him all the time. 3 years had passed and there was still no news from Qin Chu. However, Huamin missed him more and more. President Hua, you don't look so good. Have you not been sleeping well? An asked. Maybe I'm too tired. Huamin massaged his temples. The ginseng that President Su sent over is said to improve your eyesight and rejuvenate your mind. Why don't you ask the nanny to make some for you? I'll tell you later. And had been by Huamin's side for 3 years. In the beginning he was quiet but now he could get along with Huamin like they were friends. And had saved Huamin's life many times. So she knew that An wasn't just a simple assistant by Su Yu's side. He was actually an extremely skilled bodyguard. It was just that no one knew about him. When Huamin arrived at the company he went straight to the executive meeting room and began talking to the headquarters. When he came out it was already 3 p.m. President Hua, you have a meeting with President Yu of Wanhe at 8:30 p.m. Do you want to go personally, or do you want Supervisor Jing to go? Bella walked over with some documents. Chapter 1781. Bella became Huamin's first secretary and Qin Chu's former assistant Yang was now the CEO of the company. He was in charge of all the company's affairs and had a lot of power. Too many things had changed in 3 years, including Huamin's lifestyle. She went from an excellent doctor to a valiant female CEO, attending small meetings and all sorts of events. She received many outstanding awards. Before Huamin could reply, Jixin walked over. Sis, I'll go to dinner for you tonight. You should go home and rest early. Jixin was wearing a black suit. He no longer looked as immature and reckless as he used to be. Instead he looked like a white-collar worker. Jixin had returned to China a year ago. After he finished his studies he had been helping Huamin at GK. He worked in the most difficult and complicated marketing department, and was only a small manager because Huamin wanted him to start from the bottom. It's okay, President Yu is a little difficult to deal with. I'm afraid you won't be able to handle him. I'll go myself. Then Huamin walked towards his office. Sis, it's my niece's 3rd birthday in 3 days. Have you prepared everything? Yes. Then, did you see the invitation list? I didn't, Suyu did it. Then I'll go talk to Big Brother Suyu. A few of our business partners heard about it and insisted on coming. They've told me a few times and asked me to bring a few invitations. I want to use this opportunity to get on their good side. Jixin smiled. Then you should talk to Suyu. He's always been in charge of this. Huamin wanted to keep the little princess's 3rd birthday low-key. However, the Su family strongly objected. Lord Su, Mr. Su and Suyu objected. In the end Huamin gave in. Suyu took out the gift he gave to the twins, a luxury cruise ship worth over 100 million yuan. He was going to celebrate an unforgettable birthday for the twins on the ocean. It looked like the whole world was celebrating. In the end, Huamin had no choice but to agree. However, because the company was too busy, Su Yu and Imperial Star's PR team were in charge of everything. She didn't ask much about it. There were only 3 days left. Time flew by so quickly. Imperial Star headquarters. Su Yu sat in his office and looked at the invitation list for the cruise ship dinner party. The twins' birthday party was even grander than Imperial Star's anniversary celebration. Even someone like Grandpa Su would be there in person. It could be said that it was a gathering of the top celebrities. Invitations were hard to come by, and many entrepreneurs who wanted to curry favor with Huamian and Su Yu were willing to spend a fortune to buy them. Just wanted a chance to get on board the cruise ship. Your Highness, Your Highnesses, I means jewelry store. Sus means, office. The female employee in the lead wore white gloves and held a square black velvet box in her hands. President Su, the ring you ordered, Angel's smiled, has arrived. Su Yu took the box and slowly opened it. Inside was a sparkling diamond ring. The diamond was pink and was about 122 carats. It was found in South Africa, and it was the best preserved pink diamond in the world. Su Yu bought it at an auction last year for more than 6 billion yuan. After he bought it, he secretly took it to a top-notch factory and spent a year polishing it into the only diamond in the world, Angel's smile. The design of the ring was a little angel with wings and a warm smile. The pink diamond was the hem of the angel's dress. It was very cute. The craftsmanship was also very complicated and difficult to make. He planned to propose to Huamin in front of the whole world at the dinner party in 3 days. President Su, are you satisfied with the ring? The employee asked carefully. Su Yu looked at the ring gently and didn't say anything for a long time. Chapter 1782. I'm satisfied. Su Yu nodded, trying his best to suppress the excitement in his heart. After the employee left, Su Yu held the ring in his hand and couldn't bear to put it down. 3 years ago, Tang Chuan unintentionally suggested a ridiculous idea that Su Yu took to heart. For the past 3 years he carefully took care of Huamin and the twins. He maintained a perfect, non-awkward distance from them. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. But his love for Huamin only increased. Everyone in the Su family understood his feelings, and no one forced him to go on blind dates or get married. They quietly watched him enjoy the most peaceful and gentle time with Huamin and the twins. 3 days later, it was the twins' 3rd birthday party. He wanted to announce to the world that he loved Huamin. He wanted to take Huamin as his wife, and hold her hand until they grow old together. For the past 3 years he followed Hua Xiqian's subordinates, but he didn't find anything. He thought that maybe Qin Chu really wasn't in this world anymore. Otherwise, why wouldn't he show up for 3 years? If that was the case, then it was time for him to be a man and propose to the woman he loved. Even if Huamin rejected him, he wouldn't regret it. He had to at least give it a try, right? Su Yu had never been so nervous. When he held the ring, he felt as if his heart was going to jump out of his chest. GK headquarters, President Hua. I heard that Hua Xiqian also got an invitation. Although we didn't invite him, he seems determined to come. What should we do? Should we ask security to stop him? Bella asked worriedly. No, let him do it. But President Hua. Bella was worried that he would cause trouble. Let him do it. I want to see how he can't do anything to me no matter how many ideas he has. He's on our turf, so why should we be afraid of him? Huamin sneered. When Huamin moved out of the Su family's house, Hua Xiqian was extremely excited. He thought that without the Su family's protection, Huamin wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow. However, he didn't expect Huamin to be so smart that he fought with him for 3 years. Not only was he unable to do anything to Huamin, but he also lost to Huamin's business competition. The Hua Xiqian's Hua Corporation's entertainment business as well, Hua Xiqian's real estate and jewelry businesses to Huamin's, Hua Tu's to Huamin's to Huamin's to Hua Xiqian had tried so many times and failed, of course, and was the biggest contributor. He was like a godlike bodyguard. Huamin was grateful that Su Yu sent such an excellent bodyguard to her. Okay, I'll do as you say. Bella, is there any news from HQ in the States? Will they send more people over? I don't know. I heard that they're still waiting for Mr. Nick's decision. I don't think there's much hope, President Hua. I know I've prepared everything. If they come, I'll welcome them. If they don't, I'll take them with open arms. Huamin chuckled. 3 days passed in a flash. 3 days later at 6 p.m. on October 26th, the Princess cruise ship was ablaze with lights, and the most important people in the city gathered there. It wasn't a business meeting or a superstar performance. It was a celebration for the twins' third birthday. Imperial Star even bought out the rights to stream the event live on a certain platform. 5 minutes after the event started, more than 8 million people watched the live stream. It was an unprecedented scene. Wow, I think I saw Enai Young Appa. Look, is that him walking down the red carpet? A fan commented. It really is him. Enai Young Appa, I love you. I don't like Enai Young, I like Suyu. I heard that he personally designed tonight's event. He's handsome, rich and romantic. Wow, he's my ideal husband. I want to see my Mion. It's been 3 years and she's become a successful career woman. He's so inspiring, good luck. Where are the twins? I want to see them. Pudding Little Bean, I'm your biggest fan. I heard that these two are geniuses. Inside the luxurious changing room on the cruise ship, President Hua, are you ready? It's your turn. Bella pushed open the door. Huamin stood up and looked back with a smile on his face. Even as a woman, Bella was stunned. President Hua. Chapter 1783. Huamin was wearing an off-shoulder dress that showed off her figure. It was aqua blue. The dress was covered with a light blue chiffon that was gold and purple, and the hem of the dress was faintly discernible. In the past 3 years her shoulder-length hair had grown longer. Now she had braided her hair and it fell over her left shoulder. It was very sexy. The most amazing thing was that Huamin, who usually dressed casually, was wearing very heavy makeup tonight. It was exquisite, beautiful and gorgeous. She also wore a pair of aqua blue contact lenses. Bella felt like she had seen this outfit before. President Hua, what are you doing? Pudding and Little Bean really like Princess Elsa from Frozen, so I imitated her. Isn't it ugly? Huamin smiled. Oh no. It's really beautiful. Oh my god, I was wondering why it looked so familiar. You really are cosplaying Princess Elsa. President Hua. I never knew you could look so beautiful when you're dressed up. Bella was very steady in her work. She would never exaggerate or flatter others. Therefore her compliments were 100% sincere. Huamin only smiled slightly and walked over slowly. Bella carefully helped her walk out. When Huamin walked down the red carpet, she held the twins' hands, one on each side. The two little princesses were wearing white princess dresses, crowns on their heads and magic wands in their hands. They looked very beautiful. Pudding and Little Bean were very beautiful, and they were indeed like their father. Huamin wasn't that stunning. Mommy, you look beautiful today. Little Bean praised with a smile. Mommy has always been this beautiful, okay? Pudding was still proud. With a smile, Huamin carefully held their hands and walked down the red carpet step by step. At this moment, everyone's attention was on them. In the middle of the stage, Suyu was wearing a white suit. When he saw Huamin and the twins walk back, his heart raced. The netizens watching the live stream were also confused. This was the first time in 3 years that Huamin had appeared with the twins in such a high-profile manner. Huasiqian looked at her from afar and his gaze gradually softened. She's still so beautiful. In my heart she'll always be so beautiful, Huasiqian said gently as he held a glass of champagne. When Huamin walked to the middle of the stage, Bella handed him the microphone. Huamin picked up the microphone and looked around the room. Thank you, everyone, for coming to my daughter's 3rd birthday party. I hope you have a good time. Huamin didn't make any long-winded remarks, nor did he flaunt or stir up emotions. Huamin spoke very sincerely. Then the celebrity performance mode was activated. All the top superstars of Imperial Star were present. The opening dance was Enai Yang's mechanical dance, and the music was particularly high. The entire stadium exploded with passion. More than 1,000 guests on the cruise were gathered here to watch the performance. Huamin, the twins, the Su family and his parents sat at the first main table. Zhu Lingling, Jiang Shaowei and Tang Chuan sat at the table next to Huamin's. The twins surrounded Grandpa Su and tried their best to coax the old man, making him very happy. Because Lord Su was present, the security on the cruise was extremely tight, and the special forces disguised as plainclothes were protecting him at all times. This kid is so thoughtful. It's just a kid's birthday party. Why did he make it so grand? Yang Myong chatted with Lady Su with a smile. He's always been so high profile. Lady Su replied with a smile. Tang Chuan sat next to Su Yu and quietly whispered into his ear, "Is everything ready?" "Yeah." Su Yu nodded, slightly nervous. "Let me tell you in a bit. After the twins finish singing and performing, you should immediately go up and propose to them in front of everyone. Huamin won't reject you. The chances of success are very high. With so many people here, Huamin is a smart person. He won't make you feel awkward." Tang Chuan patted Su Yu's shoulder encouragingly. Chapter 1784. Su Yu bit his lip and didn't say anything. To be honest, he thought that the chances of success were pretty high. 3 years had passed and Huamin should have let go of everything that happened in the past. After all, Qin Chu was a person of memories. In the past 3 years, almost no one had mentioned Qin Chu's name in front of Huamin. Actually, I didn't want to force her. If she didn't reject me because she didn't want to embarrass me, then I'd be pretty disappointed. Please, Lord Su, can you not be so pretentious? In this situation, you just need to ask Huamin to accept your proposal. Why do you care what her intentions are? Don't be so pretentious, okay? Plus, she'll fall in love with you sooner or later after you guys get married. I think the twins already treat you like their father. Upon hearing this, Su Yu felt a sense of happiness rise up in his heart. He had a good relationship with the twins and he really did treat them like his own daughters. Tang Chuan was right. Even if he was being selfish this time and made Huamin feel bad about rejecting him in front of everyone, then he might very well succeed in his proposal. After the twins' birthday party, they would continue to prepare for their wedding. Su Yu never thought that happiness would be so close to him one day. Other than Huamin, everyone else knew about Su Yu's proposal. Zhu Lingling and Jiang Shaowei were also cheering for Su Yu. "Lord Su, don't be nervous. Do your best." Zhu Lingling smiled. "We'll witness this sacred moment together." Jiang Shaowei held Wei Yunchu in her arms. "Mommy, what are you guys talking about? What sacred moment?" The little boy looked up and asked Jiang Shaowei. "You'll find out soon. Uncle Su is going to defy the heavens tonight." Jiang Shaowei pinched her son's cheek and smiled. Huamin sat next to Yang Mirong and watched the performance in the center of the stage. Suddenly, his mind wandered. He didn't know what was wrong with him today, but when he woke up in the morning, his left eyelid started twitching violently. Then he began to feel uneasy as if something was about to happen. He hadn't had such a feeling in a long time. "What's wrong, Mion?" Her mother noticed that something was wrong. "Maybe I'm a little seasick. I'll go get some fresh air. Mom, help me look after Pudding and Little Bean." "All right, go and rest." After Huamin finished speaking, he stood up and walked towards the door. "President Huo, are you okay?" Bella followed him and carefully helped Huamin up. Huamin shook his head. "President Huo, the U.S. headquarters just sent a notice, saying that Mr. Nick has arrived." "He's here?" Huamin was slightly surprised. "Yeah, they said that he's already on the ship." "No way. What the hell, why didn't they tell us earlier? Even if he's the president of the U.S. headquarters, he can't be so willful." Huamin was speechless. Mr. Nick was the newly appointed president of the U.S. headquarters. He kept saying that he wanted to come to China for an inspection. He mentioned it a few times but nothing happened. Now it was the twins' birthday and he had already secretly boarded the ship. Who is he? Where is he now? "I've already arranged for him to be in the lounge of the first-class cabin. You can go there and greet him." "Let's go." Huamin rubbed his temples, still feeling a little dizzy. She walked all the way to the first-class cabin with Bella, but there was no one there. "Where is he?" Mr. Nick went to the main hall and said that he wanted to watch the performance. Damn. Huamin was immediately pissed. "I'm sorry, President Hua, it's my fault. I'll go look for him." "It's okay, let him watch the performance if he wants to. I'm a little dizzy, so I'll go get some fresh air on the deck. I'll be back in a bit." Huamin waved her hand and sent Bella away. She slowly walked onto the deck with a glass of red wine in her hand. At this time, everyone was watching the performance, so it was very quiet. She looked at the sea in the distance, listened to the sound of the waves and felt the sea breeze. Then she took a small sip of red wine. Her heart started to beat faster and faster, as if it was going to jump out of her chest. Huamin reached out and pressed her left chest. "Why is this happening? What's wrong with me?" she muttered to herself. She couldn't even hold the glass of red wine in her hand and it fell to the floor. Just then a black shadow flashed behind her. A pair of fair and slender hands gracefully caught the glass of red wine. "Honey, long time no see." A familiar voice that she hadn't heard in a long time sounded in her ears. Huamian raised her head abruptly, and when she saw that familiar face, she felt as if all the blood in her body had frozen. Chapter 1785. Huamian stared at the man in front of her, unable to believe that all of this was real. Looking at his familiar face and gentle smile at such a close distance, Huamian felt as if a lifetime had passed. Me. It's really me, it's not a dream, Qin Chu spoke again. His voice was still as magnetic as before. His voice was unbelievably soft, as if he was afraid that he would scare Huamian if he spoke a little louder. In that instant, Huamian turned around. Without saying anything, she threw herself into Qin Chu's arms. Tears flowed out before she could say anything. Tears flowed down her cheeks quietly without a single sound. Huamian didn't say anything. She just hugged Qin Chu tightly, her hands tightly gripping his black shirt. It was as if she was afraid that in the next moment he would disappear into thin air. Qin Chu seemed to understand Huamian's feelings. He didn't say anything and just hugged her tightly. He slowly warmed her and melted her. No one knew how long Huamian had been waiting for this moment in her heart. She had imagined this scene countless times. But it wasn't as thrilling as this moment. It was even more intense than the first reunion after 7 years during a class reunion. In the end, Qin Chu couldn't hold it in anymore. He cupped Huamian's delicate face in his hands. He gently looked into her eyes. I'm sorry for making you wait. After speaking, Mr. Qin slowly kissed her. The moment their lips touched, she felt as if the sky and earth were spinning. Huamian greedily sniffed Qin Chu's unique and familiar scent, feeling the warmth of his cool lips. Her hands were still tightly hugging him, unwilling to let go. Then, it was a passionate response. This kiss of reunion after a long separation, from the initial gentleness to the later tempestuous, domineering invasion, and then to gentleness and then to exhaustion. It felt as if a century had passed. Inside the main hall, where's Huamian? Zhu Lingling looked around but didn't see Huamian. He was very curious. He was here just now. Maybe he went out. Gao Ran put his arm around Zhu Lingling's shoulder. Zhu Lingling had just given birth to her son, Gao Buyuan, in April. Now the child was only 7 months old. Zhu Lingling planned to bring Gao Buyuan to Guning's house today, but Gao Buyuan liked to sleep too much, so Zhu Lingling decided to send him to Guning's house. The twins' performance is over. You should find Huamian first. After all, she's the female lead, Tang Chuan reminded him. Alright, I'll go get her now. Suyu was still unable to suppress the excitement and nervousness in his heart. For the entire night he was in a trance, as if something big was about to happen. When Suyu went up to the deck, he saw Huamian standing there and was about to go forward. He stopped in his tracks, because he saw Huamian tightly hugging someone, a man, and that man was... After Suyu saw clearly, he took 2 steps back and didn't go forward to disturb them. That person was actually Qin Chu. Including the time Huamian was pregnant, it had been almost 4 years. Qin Chu actually came back quietly. On the night that he was about to propose to Huamian, Suyu felt as if his heart had been hammered by something. He subconsciously reached into his trouser pocket and took out the brocade box. At this moment, when he looked at it again, he felt that it was extremely ironic. He lowered his head and gently stroked the brocade box. Good thing I didn't have time to say it. Otherwise, Mian wouldn't be the only one embarrassed. Suyu smiled bitterly. He clearly saw Qin Chu and Huamian's passionate kiss after not seeing each other for so long. He felt as if something in his heart was disintegrating bit by bit, into pieces. He seemed to hear the sound of glass shattering. It seemed like everything was fate. Huamian was not destined to be his woman. When Suyu returned to the hall in a daze, his expression was extremely ugly and he didn't say a word. What happened to Lord Su? You didn't find him? Wei Liao looked up and asked him. Chapter 1786. We'll go look for him for you, or you can ask the TV station to broadcast it over the radio. Huamian can't be far. Tang Chuan laughed. Lord Su, did something happen? Xiao Xiao, a psychologist, didn't miss the terrible look on Suyu's face when he came back. Suyu slowly raised his head, his face turning paler and paler. He's back. Who's back? Everyone was confused when they heard this. Qin Chu's back. Suyu didn't know how much courage it took for him to say these 4 words. But as soon as he said these words he felt like all the strength in his body had left him. Everyone who was present was completely shocked. Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran were dumbfounded, Wei Liao and Jiang Shaowei were shocked, and Ai Yang and Chen Jie didn't say anything. They looked at each other and seemed to be panicking as well. Tang Chuan knocked the cup in his hand to the ground, completely dumbfounded. Pa, are you kidding me? Don't mess around. Tang Chuan still thought that this was Su Yu's prank. You'll see him soon, Qin Chu's back. Then what are you? For the first time Wei Liao felt bad for his best friend since childhood. No matter what Tang Chuan said before or if he wanted to defend Su Yu, Wei Liao never said anything. But this time he felt bad for his friend. He didn't come back sooner or later, but he came back just as Su Yu was about to propose and Qin Chu came back. Was he playing with him on purpose? For the first time Wei Liao felt that the fearless Lord Su was so pitiful. If he missed this opportunity then he might never be able to have Hua Mian again. He really didn't have another chance. 3 years of companionship is nothing compared to Qin Chu's warm hug. I see you am willing to accept defeat. I'll retire with honor. It seems like losing to Qin Chu was destined from the beginning. Su Yu looked up and smiled awkwardly. Such a forced smile made everyone's heart twitch. Young Master Su, I feel bad for you. It's been 3 years. Even if you raise a dog you'll still have feelings for it, let alone a human. Hua Mian doesn't have a heart, can't you see? Now her husband is back and she's going to live a happy and sweet life. What about you? What will you do? No, I'm going to ask Hua. Tang Chuan was very straightforward, so when he saw Su Yu's face he became furious. She got up and was about to leave. However, Su Yu grabbed onto the corner of his shirt. Come back, Lord Su, sit down. Su Yu was furious as well, so he yelled at Hua Mian. It attracted the attention of the people around them. In the middle of the stage, the twins were still singing the English version of Frozen's theme song, Let It Go. The two little guys sang in 7 different languages and the tune was very accurate, which made everyone present extremely shocked. Su Yu pulled Tang Chuan to sit down and looked around at everyone. Then he slowly said, I'm still willing to eat fish even when a fishbone is stuck in my throat. I've been bitten by dogs and scratched by cats, but I still love animals. Even when I had a mouthful of cavities I still loved sweets as much as my life. Even though Hua Mian rejected me I was still willing to cross mountains and rivers just to see her. The reason is the same, I love her so I'm willing, Lord Su. Jiang Shaowei seemed like she wanted to persuade him. Su Yu reached out and interrupted Jiang Shaowei. Everyone knew that Su Yu had more to say so they listened quietly. Chapter 1787. I know what you guys want to say, you don't have to persuade me. The truth is, I'm very grateful that Qin Chu came back at this time. Otherwise, if he came back after my proposal I would be even more pissed off. I would feel like something that belonged to me was taken away from me. Haha, right now I'm just returning something that I've taken from someone else for too long. Also, you guys need to know that Hua Mian didn't do anything wrong. She never accepted me, she never gave me hope, and there's nothing between us. Everything is just my wishful thinking. So, please don't blame her and continue to burden her. Thank you guys, I need some time alone. I'll leave the rest to you guys. After speaking, Su Yu took off his white jacket, got up and left. All that was left was a deep sense of sadness. It was a good thing that Qin Chu came back, but everyone fell into heart-wrenching pain because of Su Yu. Su Yu's words shut everyone's mouths, leaving them speechless. Looking at Su Yu's back as he left, Zhu Lingling wanted to cry for a moment. Honey, Mr. Qin is back, we should be happy. Why do I still feel so sad? Gao Ran didn't say anything, he just hugged Zhu Lingling tightly and let her lean on his shoulder. The boy in Jiang Shaowei's arms looked up and asked curiously, Mommy, what's wrong with Uncle Su? He's a little sad. I'll go check on him. Tang Chuan got up and was about to leave but Wei Liao stopped him. Don't disturb him at a time like this, let him be alone. Upon hearing Wei Liao's words, Tang Chuan stopped in his tracks. On the deck Hua Mian and Qin Chu didn't let go of each other until they couldn't breathe. Then as soon as Qin Chu regained his balance, Hua Mian went up and slapped him across the face. The sound of the slap was loud and clear but it was merciless. Qin Chu wasn't surprised at all and he accepted it calmly. One isn't enough. Keep fighting. This is what I deserve. Qin Chu grabbed Hua Mian's hand and continued to place it on his face. Then he picked up her hand and slapped it hard on his face. However, Huamin did not have the heart to continue hitting him. It's been 4 years. You made me wait for so long. I'm sorry, Qin Chu apologized gently. I don't want to apologize, I want to explain. Don't tell me you lost your memory. I won't accept such a low answer. Huamin stared at Qin Chu and asked in a choked voice. Qin Chu smiled and reached out his hand to brush away the hair on her forehead. He replied gently, I didn't lose my memory. I've been paying attention to you for the past 4 years. Then why didn't you come back? Did you do it on purpose? Or did you find someone else? Huamian was jealous. At this moment she was no longer the calm and quick-witted female genius who didn't panic in the face of danger. She was just the jealous, domineering and cute girl in front of her lover. No, I didn't. There are 2 reasons why I didn't come back. First, I've been secretly investigating Hua Xiqian's overseas forces. The waters are deep. I'll explain it to you slowly. What about the second reason? Huamin was filled with anger. She looked at Qin Chu with love and hate. The second reason is that when I crashed I injured my leg and injured my kneecap. You're a doctor, so I don't need to tell you how sensitive this is. It would be better if it was the bone, but the kneecap can't be regrown. There's new technology in the States, so I tried it. At first I could only walk with crutches, but now I've spent almost 4 years recuperating. Unfortunately, I still haven't fully recovered and there are still some effects. So right now I'm basically a cripple. I wanted to come back after I fully recovered because I didn't want you to worry, but it's too long. I feel like if I wait any longer I'll go crazy from missing you. So, Mian, do you dislike the imperfect me? After hearing Qin Chu's words, Huamin froze on the spot, dumbfounded. She never would have thought that because of this, she and Qin Chu missed out on 4 whole years. What if I say that I dislike it? Huamin quietly looked at Qin Chu and asked. Then you can pretend that I never came back, and continue living the life you're living now. Qin Chu still looked at her gently. Huamin's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. Chapter 1788. Qin Chu, do you even have a conscience? How could you abandon me at a time like this? Huamin couldn't hold it in anymore. She pounded on Qin Chu's shoulder as tears streamed down her face. She knew that she didn't need to hide her emotions in front of Qin Chu. She just needed to be her true self. Only in front of Qin Chu was she not a filial daughter, not a warm sister, not a loving mother, not the powerful President Hua, not the genius Dr. Hua. She was only the little girl Huamin. Qin Chu hugged Huamin again. He gently kissed her forehead and doted on her. He knew that she had gone through a lot and she knew that he had gone through a lot. Honey, don't leave me again. I don't care how disabled you are. Even if you're half dead, you have to stay with me. Huamin hugged Qin Chu's broad waist tightly and said in a coquettish tone. I won't leave you again. Next time, unless it's life or death, nothing will separate us. Huamin looked up at him and said in all seriousness, even if it's life or death. If you dare to make decisions on your own again, then I won't live anymore. I'll leave your poor daughters to live alone in this world. Qin Chu's eyes were filled with warmth at the mention of his 2 cute daughters. Thank you, honey, for giving birth to my little princess. Why don't you suspect that the kids are Su Yu's? Huamin pushed him on purpose to piss him off. To her surprise, Mr. Qin proudly replied, Su Yu isn't that handsome to have such beautiful daughters. After hearing Mr. Qin's words, Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. That arrogant Mr. Qin was back. Even though he was late by 4 years, but at this moment Huamin didn't care about that anymore. She just wanted to cherish every moment she had with Qin Chu. President Hua, the little princesses have finished their performance. It's your turn to give a speech, and then, Huamin's secretary Bella walked up to the deck. Before she could finish her sentence, she was dumbfounded. She was shocked by the sight of Qin Chu. Qin? President Qin. Oh my God. Bella had always been a calm person and rarely made such a fuss. Qin Chu smiled and nodded. President Qin, is that really you? Belle wasn't sure. It's me. Oh my God. Oh my God. President Qin is back. Oh my God. Bella was in a mess. Huamin held Qin Chu's hand and smiled slightly. So, can Mr. Qin accompany me to the curtain call? That's not a problem, but is it really okay for you to hold your boss's hand like this? Qin Chu smiled. My boss? What do you mean? Huamin froze for a second before he realized what Qin Chu meant. He looked at Qin Chu in surprise. You're not. Are you? It seems like you're not that dumb. I thought your IQ would plummet after you gave birth to our daughter. Chin Chu reached out his finger and flicked Huamin's head lovingly. Bella froze again upon hearing what happened. Mr. Nick, the new president of GK's American headquarters, was actually President Chin in person? Oh my god, this was unbelievable. What's going on? How could you be Mr. Nick? Huamin was confused. She never would have thought that the big boss of GK's American headquarters, who pissed her off, was actually her husband. Oh my god, was there anything more dramatic than this? Chin Chu was the president of GK's American headquarters. Chapter 1789. My uncle used to be a major shareholder there. Our family has always had shares in the company. Qin Ning is also a senior executive there. After I found out what happened, I sent my parents to Hawaii to recuperate. My uncle, Qin Ning, and I have been working at the headquarters. The previous president, Mr. Smith, got sick last year and resigned. The position of president has been vacant for a long time. I went through a series of selections and was finally elected as the new president by the board of directors. That's what happened. Chin Chu said it casually, but Huamin knew that it must have been a lot of hardships. Mr. Chin, you're still so amazing. I'm really impressed, Huamin praised sincerely. No, compared to Mrs. Chin, I'm nothing. Mrs. Chin went from a doctor to a CEO within 3 years, and her performance was outstanding. Otherwise, the headquarters in the US wouldn't have asked me, the big boss, to come here personally. You're always teasing me. Huamin accidentally pushed Chin Chu. He lost his balance and almost fell down the stairs. Huamin hurriedly held him up and looked down at his leg. Indeed, his movements weren't as agile as before. If Chin Chu could endure it for 4 years, his injury must be very serious. Does it still hurt? Huamin looked at Chin Chu's leg with concern. No. Stopped a long time ago. When the plane crashed, Huamin reached out and touched Chin Chu's lips. Don't worry, we'll talk about this when we get home. What you need to do now is walk up the stage with me and let the twins see their daddy. Before Chin Chu could say anything, Huamin took his hand and walked slowly toward the hall. Huamin had never been so excited. She felt like she could feel everyone's eyes on her. Her man was back. Her husband was finally back. Chin Chu didn't die. These thoughts grew wildly in Huamin's mind. He wanted to announce it to the whole world. Immersed in the joy of Chin Chu's return, Huamin ignored Su Yu's feelings and didn't think too much about it. She held on to Chin Chu's hand and walked inside in a high-profile manner. As expected, Chin Chu's appearance immediately caused an uproar. Hey, look who's that man beside President Hua. He looks so familiar. Is that President Hua's boyfriend? Isn't President Hua and President Su the best couple? That man looks like President Hua's ex-husband. He looks so familiar. No way. Hua to the Huamian Su. What's going on? Mom, look, is that my brother-in-law? Jixing was sitting next to his mother. He was also dumbfounded when he saw Chin Chu. Yang Meirong looked carefully under the light. Then her expression changed drastically. Is that Chin Chu? Yang Meirong wasn't sure. Upon hearing Chin Chu's name, the 3 members of the Su family were all shocked. Lord Su had never seen Chin Chu in person. He had only seen photos. This was his first time seeing him. He narrowed his eyes and sized up the man under the spotlight. Black shirt, black pants, and a perfect side profile. When he walked over, he had the aura of a king. He was indeed a man who could suppress Su Yu. Mr. Su didn't say a word. He just looked in the direction of the crowd and saw Huamin and Chin Chu walking over. Is that really Mion's lover? Lady Su was also very surprised. At this moment, she subconsciously turned to look at the second table. However, she realized that Su Yu had already left. Lady Su's heart suddenly ached. Chapter 1790. Lady Su felt a little melancholy. It seemed like her son was going to be heartbroken again. When Chin Chu walked up, the people at the second table were all in an uproar. Gao Ran stood up excitedly. He couldn't hold back the yelling in his heart. He really wanted to shout out Chin Chu's name in front of everyone. Oh my god, it really is him. He finally came back safe and sound. Gao Ran was a little incoherent. Really is. Mr. Chin, he really came back, Zhu Lingling muttered to herself as she sat there in a daze. Jiang Xiaowei on the other hand looked very relieved. My Mian didn't wait in vain. He was happy for Huamin. Although she also felt bad for Su Yu, Jiang Xiaowei knew that Huamin didn't live a happy life for the past 4 years. All the happiness was just a pretense. He lived for the sake of his daughters. Without Qin Chu, Huamin was already a walking corpse. He was a shell without a soul. Huamin had been living under a mask of his own for the past 4 years. No one could see his sadness. President Qin, you're really back. It seems like Sister Mian can finally rest in peace. And Yang smiled. Qin Chu and Huamin held hands as they walked down the long red carpet towards the center of the stage. The twins, who hadn't gotten off the stage after their song, were also dumbfounded. Sis, look at that person. Is that Daddy? Little Bean asked in her baby voice. I really think so. He looks a lot like us. No, we look a lot like him. The twins were also dumbfounded when they saw their mommy appear with their dazzling daddy. Was this supposed to be a birthday surprise? Pudding, Little Bean, this is Daddy. Huamin walked over and held their little hands as they walked up to Qin Chu. Well, Daddy, you're so handsome in real life. You're 10,000 times more handsome than in photos. Little Bean was always good at flattering. She immediately ran over and hugged Qin Chu's leg tightly. When Qin Chu looked at the two little guys, his heart almost melted. He bent down and picked up Little Bean, kissing her cheek again and again. Pudding, you should go too, Huamin reminded his sister. To his surprise, Pudding, who was always smart and calm, calmly looked at Huamian and asked, Mommy, Daddy's back? What about handsome Su? To Su's surprise, Mian Su was speechless. Subconsciously, she looked down the stage and saw that Su Yu was no longer sitting there. Could it be that he already knew about Qin Chu's return? After Qin Chu kissed Little Bean, he gently put her down and looked at Pudding with a smile. Come here, let Daddy hug you. Qin Chu took the initiative to invite her. He had long heard that the older daughter was calm, smart, and arrogant, while the younger daughter liked to act cute. They were both unique. He had seen their photos since they were little. Now there were countless photo albums in his bedroom, all of which were of Huamin and the twins. Pudding was a little shy. She looked into Qin Chu's eyes and slowly walked over. There was a hint of arrogance in her movements. Qin Chu suddenly picked her up. You sang really well in English. Pudding, you're great. Daddy, what about me? Little Bean raised her head and asked unhappily. You're great too. You're both great. Of course. We're Qin Chu's and Huamin's daughters after all. Pudding continued to be arrogant. Qin Chu kissed Pudding again before reluctantly putting her down. At this moment, the audience was in an uproar. Huamin took the microphone from Bella and said softly, Let me introduce you to the person next to me. Everyone held their breaths and the audience was silent. This is my husband, Qin Chu, Huamin announced to the world as she held onto Qin Chu's hand sweetly. After she said this, the audience went wild again. In an inconspicuous corner not far away, Huasiqin crushed the wine glass in his hand. Blood slowly dripped down his palm. It was a horrifying sight. Chapter 1791. Boss your hand. Huasiqin's subordinates were scared out of their wits. Get out of my way, you bunch of idiots. He's already back and you didn't even find a single clue. What's the point of keeping you guys around? Huasiqin gritted his teeth and scolded coldly. The person who made Huasiqin's dorm room uneasy and scared for 4 whole years suddenly appeared out of nowhere. In contrast to Su Yu's sadness, Huasiqin was extremely pissed. Huasiqin's hand was pierced by the glass shards, but he didn't seem to feel any pain. Compared to these superficial wounds, what hurt him even more was the happy smile on Huamin's face beside Qin Chu. She actually felt like it was an eyesore. After Huamin finished speaking, he handed the microphone to Qin Chu and gestured for him to say a few words. Qin Chu took the microphone and looked around. Then he slowly opened his mouth. His voice was incomparably beautiful. Thank you all for coming to my daughter's birthday party, thank you. Qin Chu didn't say much, he only said one simple sentence, and it caused an uproar in the crowd. Then Huamin waved his hand, signaling for the banquet to begin. Then, the family of 4 slowly walked down from the stage. The scene was extremely beautiful. Yang Meirong was so excited that tears fell from her eyes when she saw her daughter's family reunited. Xixin also rushed up and hugged Qin Chu. Brother-in-law? Xixin, thank you for taking care of your sister while I was gone, Qin Chu said faintly. We're family, no need to be so polite. Brother-in-law, it's good that you're back. The Su family was shocked to see Qin Chu. They probably thought that since he hadn't been back for 4 years he probably wouldn't come back. Therefore they thought that Suyu still had hope. Now that Chinchu was back, Suyu, Grandpa Su, Uncle Su, Auntie Su. I'm grateful to the Su family for taking in Mion and my son back then. Words can't express my gratitude. If the Chin family needs anything in the future, we won't stand by and do nothing. After that, Chinchu bowed deeply 3 times to the Su family. I owe you flatter me. Hurry and get up. Master Lord Su could not bear to make things difficult for Chinchu. Even though he knew that Chinchu was his grandson's love rival, he still personally helped Chinchu up. Kid, don't be so polite. We've been treating Mion, Pudding and Little Bean like our own children. You're being too serious. Lord Su, it's not appropriate for me to say too much about today's situation. I'll definitely pay a visit to thank you another day. Chinchu's eyes were filled with incomparable sincerity. His gratitude to the Su family wasn't just for show. I'm sorry for making you worry. Chinchu turned around and looked at Yang Mirong, who was crying. Yang Mirong excitedly held onto Chinchu's hand. Kid, it's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. The family is finally reunited. Sis, this is a good thing. Don't cry. Lady Su picked up a tissue and comforted Yang Mirong. Everyone's emotions were extremely complicated. Then Chinchu and Huamin went to the second table. Jiang Shaowei, Wei Liao, Zhu Lingling and Gao Ran's table. Chinchu and Gao Ran looked at each other for 3 seconds, and then the two of them hugged each other like men reuniting with each other. Gao Ran was a tough man, but even he couldn't help but cry. I really thought you scared us to death. Gao Ran's voice was a little choked up. Aren't we back now? Chinchu smiled. Zhu Lingling pulled on Huamin's hand and lowered her voice. Mion, go check on Suyu. What about him? Huamin was slightly surprised. Chapter 1792. He was going to propose to you in front of everyone after the twins' performance. He even prepared the ring, but now, I'm afraid he's the saddest one. Even if you don't like him, over the past few years he's been. Before Zhu Lingling could finish, Huamin interrupted her. I understand. I'll go find him now. You guys stay with Chinchu and the kids. Upon hearing Zhu Lingling mention the proposal, Huamin was extremely surprised. No one had mentioned it to her before, so she had no idea what a proposal was. No wonder she couldn't find Suyu anywhere. He must have been too disappointed. He had prepared the ring and the proposal for so long, but before he could express it, Chinchu's return shattered all his fantasies. Huamin felt terrible. What she was most afraid of was hurting Suyu unknowingly, so for the past 4 years, she had never given him a glimmer of hope. But now, Huamin whispered into Chinchu's ear, I'm going out for a bit. You take care of the kids. Chinchu understood what Huamin was going to do. Tang Chuan seemed to be angry. When he saw Chinchu, he got up and left without looking back. Wei Liao, on the other hand, looked calm. He sat next to Jiang Shaowei and chatted with everyone. Chinchu's words were the same as before, but in the past 4 years he seemed to have become gentler. It was a gentleness that hadn't been there before. Perhaps it was because he became a father. Huamin was wearing a long blue dress, so it wasn't very convenient for her to walk. She had to carry it with both hands from time to time. President Hua, where are you going? I'll go with you. Bella was worried and followed him out. Did you see President Su? Oh, I think he went to the back of the boat alone. You don't have to follow me. I'm fine. You can take care of the scene. Call me if you need anything. After that, Huamin lifted her long skirt and walked towards the stern of the ship. When Huasiqian saw Huamin walking away alone, he turned and followed him. But before he reached the door and stopped him, President Hua, please wait. What do you mean? Huasiqian sneered. Don't I have the freedom to come and go as I please? You can go in and out freely, but this place is restricted. Other than President Su and President Hua, no one is allowed to enter. President Su and President Hua. Oh, I know. Could it be a good place for them to have an affair? Huasiqian said viciously, what nonsense are you talking about? Do you think that everyone is as despicable as you? If you dare to insult President Su again, don't blame me for being rude to you. Don't think that just because you're the president of the Hua Corporation, I can't do anything to you. Did the knife wound last time make you forget? And looked at him angrily. The two of them had fought head-on because of Huamin. At first, Huasiqian looked down on Suyu's assistant. Because when he fought Suyu one-on-one he didn't lose. But that time he almost lost his life. If he didn't dodge in time his body would have been pierced by this brat's knife. From then on he became more cautious. Therefore in the past 3 years he didn't have the chance to make a move on Huamin and his daughter. Good job, just you wait. I'll remember you, Huasiqian said ruthlessly. Any time, and replied with clenched teeth. After Suyu went to the back of the boat, and sealed off the road and didn't let anyone get close. Huamin was an exception, and had been by Huamin's side for 3 years, so he knew that Huamin wasn't an ungrateful person. She just didn't love Suyu, and already understood Huamin's situation, but at the same time he felt sorry for President Su's infatuation. When Huamin went over, Suyu was sitting there alone. He seemed to be holding something in his hand and was in a daze as the sea breeze blew on him. He looked terrible. His hair was slightly messy. Suyu. She called his name and slowly walked over. Chapter 1793. Suyu immediately hid the brocade box behind him. Then he stood up. Why are you here? Just now. Did Pudding and Little Bean sing well? Yes, they did. Did Pudding or Little Bean sing better? Huamin asked with a smile. Both. Whoa, that's a very official answer. It has to be official. Otherwise, if I say one of them, wouldn't I offend the other? Suyu chuckled. He had been with twins for 3 years. He knew the temperament of the 2 little ones too well, ever since the 2 of them could talk. The question that Suyu had been asked the most was, handsome Su, who's prettier? If Suyu said that they were both beautiful, they would obviously be dissatisfied. Must they compete to see who's better? If one of them was beautiful, the other would definitely be angry. So, how could Suyu do something to offend them? Later he thought of a way. When he was asked who was prettier, he would directly say that he thought Huamin was prettier. The 2 little guys were immediately speechless. Suyu, thank you for tonight's banquet. You've prepared for so long. Thank you for your hard work. Huamin sincerely thanked Suyu. Don't be so polite. In the past few years, the word you've said the most to me is thank you. I've heard it so many times that my ears are going to grow calluses. What is that behind you? Huamin tilted his head and asked. No, nothing. Suyu was a little flustered and hid behind him. Huamin walked over and immediately snatched it from behind him when he wasn't paying attention. It was an exquisite brocade box. Suyu wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Huamin had already opened the brocade box. Wow, what a beautiful diamond ring. Most importantly, it's such a big diamond, you're so rich. Huamian exclaimed with a smile. Suyu smiled awkwardly, but didn't say anything. This ring is so beautiful. I think it will definitely find its owner. Suyu looked like he wanted to say something, but Huamin didn't give him a chance to speak. I don't want to say too much about the Su family's kindness to me, because it's not something that can be expressed with words. I've seen everything that you've done for me, Huamin and Little Bean, and I'm not an ungrateful person. I won't turn a blind eye to everything that you've done for me. But I hope you understand one thing. Even if Chinchu didn't come back, we still wouldn't be together. Some things are destined from the beginning. I don't want to lie to you, and I don't want to choose to be with you out of gratitude and sympathy. That would be irresponsible and disrespectful to you, and you deserve a better woman by your side. The powerful Lord Su doesn't need pity and charity. Maybe other people will say, look, Chinchu came back, so Huamin immediately kicked Suyu away. But the truth is that's not the case. I never wanted to kick you away as soon as Chinchu came back. Our relationship will be the same in the future, and nothing will change just because Chinchu came back. I don't want to say anything to brush you off, and I don't want to ask you to be my sister or my brother, and I definitely won't emphasize that we'll be friends forever. You're already a very close family member to me. You're an important person in my life. There's something I want to say that might make you sad, but I still want to say that I really love Chinchu. He's the only man I've ever loved, I know. Suyu smiled bitterly. And you're a very important man to me, whether it's a friend or a family member. Anyways, no matter what, I will never abandon you. I won't force you to find another woman and then dump you to ease my mind. I just think that you're such a good person and deserve someone better, someone who is completely yours. Although she hasn't appeared yet, I believe that you'll find her. Keep the ring, I hope that one day you'll be able to give it to her. Huamin handed the ring to Suyu. If Chinchu didn't come back today and I proposed to you in front of everyone, would you have said yes? It's been 3 years, don't you like me even a little bit? Suyu didn't want to give up. He didn't have time to express his feelings, so he didn't know the answer. He knew that Hwamin never lied, so he really wanted to know the answer. Chapter 1794. After hearing Suyu's words, Hwamin remained silent for 3 seconds. Then she slowly said, although it's a little cruel to tell the cruel truth is much more realistic than a white lie. I'm sorry, Suyu, I've never liked you. I've never liked you. Even if Chin-Chu doesn't come back and never comes back, I won't marry someone else. It's not because you're not good enough, it's because my heart is already filled with Chin-Chu. I don't have any space left for you. Hwamin knew that if she said this, Suyu would be very sad. But since things had already come to this point, she might as well say it directly so that he wouldn't have any more hope. I understand. Suyu tried his best to suppress his emotions. He didn't let his tears fall. Then he put the brocade box into his pocket without leaving a trace. He didn't want to make things difficult for Hwamin anymore. Thank you, Hwamin. Thank you for never lying to me. Thank you for telling me the truth. After saying this, Suyu turned around. Suyu, Hwamin didn't finish her sentence. Suyu smiled with tears in his eyes. We're still the same. Nothing will change just because Chin-Chu came back. After hearing this, Hwamin smiled with relief. She really didn't want to awkwardly distance herself from Suyu just because Chin-Chu came back. For Hwamin was the one who saved Suyu. He was like family to her. Suyu was her savior and he was like family to her. She tossed out love and family. It was a relationship that she could never let go of. After explaining everything to Suyu, Hwamin felt a little sad. He actually cared a lot about Suyu. However, love was never about pity. It was about pity and sympathy. Suyu was a man who was like an emperor and had a strong self-esteem. He didn't need Hwamin to pity him. On the contrary, Hwamin hoped that a man as outstanding as Suyu deserved a better and more complete love. Instead of being entangled with her in a 3-person world, a short pain is better than a long pain. Hwamin had always hoped that Suyu would be able to accept the pain and let go of everything. When Hwamin went back, he sat with Chin-Chu at the dinner table and had dinner with his family and friends. Suyu returned to his room in the first-class cabin and locked himself up. Hwamin's words just now seemed to have dealt a huge blow to him. He knew that he had been too greedy. From the very beginning, Hwamin had rejected his feelings for Hwamin. Hwamin had never given him any hope. It was his own wishful thinking that there would be a chance. It turned out that Hwamin had never liked him, not even a little bit. Suyu smiled bitterly. He took out a cigarette and put it in his mouth. Then he sat on the luxurious leather sofa and looked at the sea outside the glass window. Inside the hall, Pudding climbed down from Hwamin's arms. Mommy? I'm going out for a while. Where are you going? Hwamin was surprised. It's a secret. Then Pudding climbed down and ran away. Hey? Before Hwamin could say anything, she was gone. At this time, the foodie Little Bean put down the tiramisu cake in her hand and climbed down from Chin-Chu's arms. Daddy, sorry. I'll leave you for a moment, Little Bean said in a cute voice, trying to coax Chin-Chu. To be honest, Chin-Chu wasn't used to the way these 2 little adults talked. They were so mature. Chapter 1795. Little Bean, where are you going? Chin-Chu looked at his daughter gently and asked. Pudding is sneaking around behind my back. She's up to no good. I'm going to keep an eye on her. Bye. Then she ran toward Pudding's direction. Little Bean. Hwamin yelled. President Hua, don't worry. I'll follow them. And appeared behind Hwamin out of nowhere. He glanced at Chin-Chu's face and then glanced at Hwamin. Hey. Follow them. Don't cause any trouble. Within a round, Hwamin wasn't worried about their safety. She was only worried that the 2 scheming kids would cause trouble. Mommy, where did Pudding and Little Bean go? Wei Yunchu asked Jiang Xiaowei. They went out to play. Do you want to go? No. Wei Yunchu refused without hesitation. Why not? Aren't they your good friends? Hwamin teased Wei Yunchu. They're so scary. They keep asking me who's prettier. I can't say they're both prettier. If I say one of them is prettier, the other one will beat me up. Wei Yunchu pouted and complained. Everyone laughed when they heard this. Children's words carried no harm. Things between children were always so cute and adorable. Pudding and Little Bean walked around but didn't find anything. Sis, you're looking for handsome Sue, right? Little Bean asked as she ate a lollipop. Do I need you to tell me? Isn't it obvious? Everyone on Earth knows it, okay? Pudding said proudly. Then why don't you ask Uncle An? Why do you have to look for him yourself? It's so troublesome, what do you know? It's more sincere to look for him myself. Pudding rolled her eyes at Little Bean, not wanting to talk to the foodie. Finally, the two little guys stood outside Suyu's door. I'm telling you, let's go in one by one. Otherwise, handsome Sue won't know who to listen to. I'll go in first. You can talk after I finish. Pudding turned around and warned. Little Bean licked her lollipop unhappily. Why are you going in first? Because I'm your elder sister. So what if she's an elder sister? Handsome Sue won't like you just because you're an older sister. Shut up. If you say one more word, I'll throw you into the sea to feed the fish. I don't even know why you're following us. You should have just gone to Daddy and whined to him. Daddy is Daddy. How can he be compared to handsome Sue? When we grow up, we're going to marry handsome Sue, not Daddy. Little Bean said seriously. At this moment, Xiaoan, who was protecting the twins, was dumbfounded. Heavens, this is really a conversation between a pair of 3-year-old children. It was terrifying, wasn't it? In the end, Pudding defeated Little Bean. She had the right to see handsome Sue first. What was cute was that before Pudding went in, she even tidied up her slightly messy hair and dress. Then he pretended to knock on the door. Give me some peace and quiet. Don't come in, Sue said coldly. Handsome Sue, it's me. Pudding changed her usual arrogant tone and said in a childish voice. Sue froze slightly. Then he turned his head. The moment he saw the little girl, his eyes became gentle. Pudding, why are you here? I've been waiting in the living room for a long time. I was worried about you when you didn't come for dinner, Pudding said as she walked over. Then she sat down on the sofa beside Sue like a little adult. Sue was afraid that the smoke would affect the child, so he immediately put out his cigarette. To his surprise, Pudding said seriously, if you're in a bad mood you can continue smoking. I don't mind. Sue didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I'm not smoking. I can't let my little princess breathe secondhand smoke. Sue smiled and patted Pudding's head. Where's Little Bean? Why are you here alone? I asked her to wait at the door because I want to talk to you alone. You want to talk to me alone? Sue was speechless and couldn't help but laugh. Chapter 1796. Was this really a 3-year-old child? Why did she make it sound so grand? Yes. Would you say no? Pudding looked at Sue with her adorable eyes. Sue's heart almost melted. In the past 3 years he loved the twins as much as he loved their biological father. Of course not. It's my honor to have Pudding talk to me. Sue smiled. Then I'm going to say it, okay? Sue nodded gently. First of all, you might not like what I'm going to say, but I have to say it. You know that my daddy's back, right? Pudding asked. Yeah, I know. It's been 3 years and this is the first time I've seen him. To be honest, I have mixed feelings. I won't comment on Daddy, but in the past 3 years this is the first time I've seen Mommy so happy. She's a very quiet person. She's always calm and collected. But today I saw excitement, surprise, and the joy and shyness of a little girl on her face. I think she really loves Daddy. Sue was a little disappointed when he heard what the kid said, but he still nodded and agreed with Pudding. You're right, your mommy really loves your daddy. Handsome Sue loves Mommy so much. Now that Daddy's back, you're probably the saddest person in the world. But I want to say that you're not unloved. I'll love you just like before. I love Daddy too. Thank you, Pudding. Sue bent down and kissed Pudding's slightly curly hair. Sue didn't expect this arrogant little princess to be so adorable. She really warmed his heart. Let me finish. What I mean is, my love for Daddy is like a daughter's love for her father. But my love for you is different, Pudding said seriously. How is it different? Sue smiled. When I grow up, I'm going to marry handsome Sue, Pudding said slowly. Sue almost spat out his saliva. What's with that expression? Pudding crossed her arms in front of her chest, clearly unhappy. Pudding, do you know what marriage means? Of course. Don't underestimate my intelligence. I'm not looking down on your intelligence. I just think that you're still a child and don't understand that kind of thing. That's my problem. Your problem is whether you'll marry me or not. Pudding said proudly. Pudding, when you grow up, even if 20 years from now you'll be 23 years old and I'll be 50 years old. This is the biggest joke in the world. Okay, it's too stressful for you to talk about this right now. I'll take it slow. There's no rush. Pudding sighed slightly. Suyu was completely dumbfounded. Anyway, don't be sad. Mommy doesn't know how good you are, but I do. Don't think too much. Then she stood up and sat on the sofa with her arms around his neck. She gently kissed him on the cheek. She didn't forget to secretly remind him, when Pudding comes in, ignore her no matter what she says. She's too undisciplined and not suitable for you. Suyu was so shocked that he didn't know what to say. Pudding then proudly walked out of the room with her head held high. It's your turn. But I don't think you stand a chance. Just give up. Handsome Sue won't fall in love with a foodie. After all, he likes smart and calm girls like mommy. I'm not. Humph. Don't be so smug. We don't know who Handsome Sue will like. Pudding was obviously not convinced. Pudding swaggered into the room. As soon as she stepped into the room, she spread her wings and rushed over. She directly jumped into Suyu's arms. Handsome Sue, where did you go? I missed you so much. Playing the pig to eat the tiger and acting cute and obedient was what second brother was best at. Suyu felt the same way about them. He picked up Pudding and kissed her forehead. Good girl, Pudding. Uncle Sue is fine. He's just too tired, so he's resting in the room. Handsome Sue, are you in a bad mood? Is it because of my dad's sudden return? Pudding held Suyu's face and asked in all seriousness. Suyu, on the other hand, felt really awkward. What was going on? Chapter 1797. It's not that. Don't overthink it, little bean, Suyu comforted her. Why, it's because of that. Don't be embarrassed. I know you. Little bean patted Suyu's shoulder like an adult. Suyu, handsome Sue, yeah. Who's prettier, me or Pudding? Suyu. Hearing little bean's words, Suyu felt a headache coming on. Ever since the two sisters could speak, they had asked this question hundreds of times. Was there really a need to answer? What? Is it hard to answer? Little bean pressed. No, little bean. You're both pretty because you look exactly the same. You're twins. We're obviously different. Don't you think I have a better temperament than Pudding? Suyu chuckled. Did little bean have to be so cute? Did she really know what temperament was at such a young age? Are you laughing at me? Little bean pouted. No, little bean, you're right. You have a better temperament. Really? Little bean was delighted. Really? Handsome dude. You're so nice. Don't be sad, okay? I'll give you my candy. Then before Suyu could say anything, little bean took out her lollipop and stuffed it into Suyu's mouth. Suyu froze on the spot. He really wanted to say that there was saliva on the lollipop. But, is it good? Little bean looked innocent and continued to act cute. It's good. Suyu braced himself and didn't dare to say that it wasn't good. Otherwise, this little princess wouldn't let him go. Good boy. Mommy said, no matter how sad something is, it's better to eat a candy. Remember that life is always sweet. Did your mom say that or you? Suyu didn't believe her. What does it matter? It's the same anyway. Suyu, okay little bean, you're right. I don't know what to say. Then let's go out together, okay? The banquet is about to end. I don't want you to miss the last Easter egg. Little bean held Suyu's hand and said in a childish voice. The Easter egg for Pudding and Little Bean's third birthday was carefully arranged by Suyu. There were many fireworks, all of which were meticulously custom-made by him. There were all sorts of Disney designs and they were all of the twins' favorite cartoon characters. It would definitely be beautiful and spectacular on the cruise ship. Although Suyu was in a bad mood, he couldn't resist Little Bean's persuasion. In the end, he held her hand and walked out. Seeing this, Pudding rushed up and grabbed Suyu's other hand. Just like that, Suyu held her two chubby little hands and stood on the deck of the cruise ship. Looking at the sky full of fireworks, it was as if everything was a dream. Oh, so beautiful. He's so pretty. Handsome Sue, you're so romantic. The twins seemed to like this gift very much. They couldn't stop marveling at the fireworks. After the fireworks show, the guests left the cruise ship one after another. As soon as Suyu got into his black Lamborghini, he saw and opened the door and sit down in the passenger seat. President Su, I'll go back with you. What are you doing here? Suyu was surprised. President Hu's husband is back. I don't think. I'll be needed in the future. How can that be? As long as Huasiqian isn't dead, Mion is still in danger. You should follow her for now. Unless she says it's not convenient for her, you can always protect her. Su Yu's attitude was very firm. I'll go back and protect President Hua. What about you? What are you going to do? And felt bad for his boss. Chapter 1798. I'm fine. Huasiqian isn't after me. Don't worry. Then, all right. And didn't want to give up, but he followed Su Yu's orders and went back to Huamin's place. He followed the family. Qin Chu's return turned Huamin from a strong woman into a shy girl. Inside the big Mercedes-Benz, Huamin held onto Qin Chu's arm tightly, as if she was afraid that he would disappear if she let go. Mommy, Daddy won't run away. Is it okay for you to hold on to him so tightly? Pudding couldn't help but complain as she chewed on potato chips. Qin Chu smiled and pinched Pudding's cheek. Mommy misses Daddy. Daddy, do you miss Mommy and us? Of course. Then why did you take so long to come back to see us? Pudding's careless words made Qin Chu fall silent. Pudding looked at Qin Chu and said, Daddy, you came back just in time. Otherwise, Mommy would have been taken away by handsome Su. Pudding, what are you talking about? Huamin coughed dryly. Sometimes she wondered if she really gave birth to these two little guys. Why were they so scary? Mommy won't be taken away. Because Daddy knows that Mommy only has Daddy in her heart. So Daddy, you're so confident and arrogant. I'm like you in this aspect, Pudding said proudly. Pudding didn't want to be outdone. Daddy, my IQ is like yours. Can the two of you stop talking? Can you give us some quiet time alone? Huamin couldn't take it anymore. It took them more than an hour to arrive at South Hill Manor. It was already 10 p.m. when they got home. The entire manor was brightly lit. Ever since Huamin and the kids moved back, the house was filled with warmth. Afraid that they would be lonely, Jixin and Yang Myung also lived here. Qin Chu looked at his home that he hadn't seen for a long time, and something seemed to flow slowly through his eyes. Uncle Lee burst into tears when he saw Qin Chu. Sir Hugh, Uncle Lee, I'm back. Qin Chu smiled faintly. That's great, that's great. Our family is finally reunited. Uncle Lee couldn't help but wipe his tears. He seemed very excited. Sir, have you eaten? I've already eaten. You don't have to work anymore. Slate, you guys should go and rest. Mom, help me put them to sleep. I need to talk to Qin Chu alone. Huamin instructed his mother. Yang Myung nodded and held the twins' hands. Come, let's go to bed. Pudding looked at Huamin and Qin Chu meaningfully. So, are you guys going to leave us alone and enjoy some alone time? So, are we going to have a little brother soon? Little Bean added. Huamin was speechless. Qin Chu was speechless. The twins' words struck a chord. Ahem. You two should go to bed. Don't talk nonsense here, I really have to give up. I should talk to your Chinese teacher tomorrow. There's obviously something wrong with her logic. What kind of nonsense is she teaching? Huamin was about to go crazy. The good thing was that there were no outsiders at home. Someone heard this, how embarrassing would that be? Those who didn't know would think that she had been horny for the past 3 years. As soon as Qin Chu came back, he dragged her to bed. Huamin blushed at the thought of her daughter's dirty words. Chapter 1799. Yang Meng took the twins back to their room to rest. Jixin knew that his sister and brother-in-law had a lot to talk about, so he went back to his room early. Qin Chu and Huamin held hands and slowly walked up to the second floor. They walked into the master bedroom that they had always lived in. As soon as they opened the door and walked in, Huamin didn't even wait for Huamin to stand still. Qin Chu pressed her against the wall, and then leaned down. What followed was an overwhelming kiss. Like a storm, it engulfed Huamin's entire body. She wasn't even ready yet. Qin Chu didn't let go of her until her entire body was limp and weak. He looked at her delicate and pretty face at such a close distance. It felt as unreal as a dream. Qin Chu reached out his hand and gently stroked her silky hair. Then he moved his hand down to her face. Then he moved his hand down to her cool and soft lips. He couldn't get enough of her. Mion. It's been 4 years. 1,460 days and nights. There's not a day that I haven't missed you. Me too. Huamin looked at Qin Chu, her eyes as gentle as spring water. She wanted time to stop at this moment forever. I'm sorry. I made you suffer these past 4 years. It's all my fault, Chin-Chu apologized sincerely. No, it's not your fault. I was too reckless and let Rick kidnap you onto the plane. Then the plane crashed. You don't know how scared I was. I blamed myself. If I didn't selfishly think that it was for your own good, that tragedy wouldn't have happened. I never hated you, I only hated myself. Huamin was already sobbing. Chin-Chu raised his hand and gently wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. Don't cry. I'm back now, right? Even though we've been apart for so long, God has been kind to me and allowed me to come back alive to see you guys. Mandino? I'm actually really scared. What are you afraid of? Huamin asked softly. I'm afraid. No matter how sincere my apologies are and how beautiful our memories are, they can't compare to the 4 years of Suyu's company. I don't have confidence in myself. I wasn't even by your side when you were in your most difficult times, when you were pregnant and had a baby. I'm afraid that you've already left me. Would I? Do you have so little confidence in me? Huamin smiled bitterly. If she had fallen in love with someone else, would she have waited for 4 years? She had probably already thrown herself into Suyu's arms, right? The problem was, if he changed his mind so easily, would Huamin still be Huamin? She was the woman Chin-Chu had loved since he was young. Was she the woman Suyu fell in love with at first sight and could never forget? It's not that I don't have confidence in you, it's that I don't have confidence in myself. I'm no longer perfect. My legs might never recover, and in the future, holding you might even be an extravagant wish. Chin-Chu looked down slightly. His eyes were filled with extreme lack of confidence. Actually, he should have been patient enough to find a better treatment plan and come back after he recovered. However, he couldn't take it anymore, especially in the past year. Every night he was tormented. Almost every night he dreamed of Huamin and his daughters. He wanted to come back as if he was possessed, so even though he knew that this wasn't the best time to come back, he still came back. He thought that if she was already with Suyu, then he would leave without saying a word. He would just take one look at her. If she was still the same person, then he had greedy thoughts. Could they still be the same as before? He knew that his thoughts were selfish, but people would always have a selfish side because of the person they loved. Huamin slowly got up, squatted on the ground and gently helped Chin-Chu roll up his pants. Mion, don't. Chin-Chu wanted to stop her. Let me see your legs. Huamin said as she ignored Chin-Chu's attempts to stop her and rolled up his pants. Upon seeing the shocking wound, Huamin's tears immediately fell, like a broken string of pearls. She couldn't control herself and cried. You're tuning in to the Biao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.